All right, gonna be, it's not quite a commute, but driving into Bellevue area and then going to the office. So I'm gonna be meeting with Jade Wilson today, who is from Microsoft. She's flying in, or I guess she has flown in already for work this whole week, which is cool. And we obviously don't get opportunities like this very often, so it's kind of neat to be able to do this and have someone fly in. Like, we both work at Microsoft, but obviously on very different sides of the world here. So yeah, I think this is super cool. So she let me know that she was going to be traveling in. I hope, and I'm pretty sure she is meeting up with a bunch of people while she's here for content creation and stuff. So, awesome opportunity for her. I would love to be able to do the same type of thing and go to the UK. There's a bunch of people there, not only just from like general content creation, but even like for creating courses and stuff. The people I work with are over there, so that's cool. I'm excited for this. So we're gonna go for breakfast and then try to record a little bit. So we're gonna go to the campus actually. So I'm not going to be recording the whole thing. I think she's trying to vlog her entire trip, but I don't know to what degree. Like, is she going to have the camera going the entire time, or is she going to feel, I don't know, like, if she wants to do that, that's totally cool. Like, if we're driving together, that's fine. I obviously just want her to be comfortable. So if she wanted to vlog, I don't want her to feel like, oh no, this guy's like judging me for it, because I'm literally driving in my car right now talking to a camera. So yeah, no, this is going to be cool. I think today I was planning on just talking about some BrandGhost stuff. I think that'll be kind of interesting because we spent a lot of time this weekend building, and this weekend was a little bit different in terms of how we build, because usually, like, we're all remote from each other, the people that are building BrandGhost with me. So we know each other very well, but we're all remote from each other. And coincidentally, just where our strengths lie, sorry, just trying to turn here, where our strengths lie, we can work on separate parts of it and be very effective, right? So none of us are great in the front end, but one of the engineers has, well, I should say one person has, I think, a really good eye for like design, and I don't want to say like he's an expert at it, but out of the group of us, I have a lot of trust and confidence in his ability to pick up on that kind of stuff. Then one of the engineers is out of the group of us is definitely the best at front end stuff. So I don't think that he particularly loves it, but he is able to get stuff done, and I think well. So he might disagree in terms of if it's the best or not, or how much he loves it, but I think he's quite good, honestly. I think it's one of those things where he's way better at other stuff, and as a result, he'll kind of talk himself down that he's like not good at the front end stuff at all, but he's good at it. Because like when I look at our user interface, like anything that you ever build, like, is there room for it to be better? Sure, without a doubt, but I think it looks good. It doesn't look like something I would make, because if I made the user interface, it would be inconsistent, it would be sloppy. Like, there's things I know about user interfaces and user design, user experience design, that I spent a long time, like I spent most of my career building desktop applications, and like I understand what needs to go into that. But it's kind of, I think about it like art almost. If you gave me a pencil and told me to draw a picture of something, can't do it. But to have ideas and stuff, like, that works really well for me. I just can't kind of put it into practice. So it's kind of like that even when I was doing desktop applications. Like, I knew I could organize things well, I could make things have a flow, but in terms of like being pretty, I guess, like, always kind of struggled with that. So anyway, the group of us have our strengths and weaknesses, and we are remote, so it's kind of cool that we can like be very asynchronous and just say, hey, you're getting this part done, cool. Like, for me, like, let me go build the API for that. What pieces of data do you need? No problem, like, let me get that done. And we've just been operating that way, And we did the same type of thing on Meal Coach, and it was pretty effective. So we're just continuing that. So this weekend was different though, because I mean, we've spent time in person building stuff. I'm only being a little bit vague because like I just want their like identities. I'm not like, it's not up to me to reveal their identities, so I'm just not going to say their names or give away too much about who they are. Not because it's top secret, just because it's like literally not my business to be talking about them. But we've worked in person on things before, and we know what it's like to like put our brains together and just like work on stuff. So we actually had 2 evenings of that this weekend. So like Friday and yesterday, because it's Sunday today, and it was awesome. Like we stayed up probably later than we should have, which is, you know, fine. It's funny how much of an impact that has now that we're a little bit older. I know for me yesterday, waking up for my on-call shift was pretty rough. So I set my alarm. I have to be up and ready for on-call at 6. So I set my alarm for 6. Started going through email to see if there's anything. Yesterday I was checking up on some stuff right away. And then I was like, okay, things are good. Like I'm napping. Like phone is on full blast. If someone needs me, like something will go off, but I got a nap. And then I can periodically check the things I need to. And then today is kind of similar. Like we didn't stay up late, but I'm just wiped. So, you know, same idea. Set my alarm for 6. Check things. And I have my laptop right beside me too. So that's the nice thing. I was thinking like I am technically back up on call right now. For anything that we've been looking at, I feel like we're in pretty good shape, so I'm not concerned. But I do need to be able to support my primary on-call. And like I can, based on the things I'm capable of doing, a lot of it is like if I just need to communicate and coordinate, I can do it from my phone. But if I need to be running, you know, something more in depth, then I have my laptop now, so covered that way. So we spent time this weekend like literally getting onto like a Google Meet chat and just like working together. And I miss this kind of thing, which is kind of one of the non-technical things that I just wanted to mention as I drive down here. So I miss this kind of thing because, and I don't think it works all of the time, especially if you're, I don't know, like for these individuals, I know them very well, so I find that when we're on a call and stuff, like we can be very effective asynchronously, but on a call, it's like, 10x. And it doesn't even have to be very structured. We can just be like kind of jumping between things, trying to solve problems, and it's still incredibly effective, I find. So I just think that we can take at least for us, we can take some of the things that we might be able to do in person, some of the qualities about how we communicate, and I don't know, like, and just translate that well into a call. Whereas for some people, it doesn't work that well. And just to give you an example, yesterday we were talking about, and I'll probably talk about the technical parts about this. We're talking about some concept around, like, the domains that we have. And I mean, we have data that we're trying to convert into a different format. So we were trying to say, like, what parts of the system need to know about what format of that data, just for simplicity here. And we were talking for a while asynchronously, and we realized that we were saying the same thing, so we were laughing about it. And then when we got on the call, we realized we weren't saying the same thing. It was very close, but it took us like 2 seconds on a call just to have like total clarity. So even though we do work well asynchronously, and over chat and stuff, there's still these opportunities that pop up. So that's kind of what I want to talk about, though, on the technical side. So this is a pretty interesting problem. I don't want to call it a problem. It's a challenge, right? It's like it has a solution. So one of the previous videos here, I was talking about blob storage and how in our system right now, just call it like legacy reasons and like MVP reasons, just like keeping things simple technology-wise, We said, if you want to be able to post media to social media, we just need a public URL to it. That's it. Very simple. If you can give us a public URL, we can post it. But the reality is, from a usability experience, like that's not stellar, right? Because the example I gave is even for us making our own topic streams, we messed it up, right? Like we copied the wrong Google Drive format of URL. Now it doesn't work. So it's just too easy to mess up, even if you're comfortable setting it up in the first place. It's just, room for error. So, the challenge, or I guess the goal, is like we want to make sure that we can put content into blob storage. And what that means, though, is that we have a different way to identify and work with that content. So we can have our own like resource identifiers internally to our system. And we were talking about like who needs to know about resource IDs and who needs to know about URLs to the media. And it's just a really interesting challenge to kind of sort out. So we're trying to say, like, and I wish I could draw pictures and drive at the same time, but that's where it gets dangerous. We technically have an API that can be accessed outside of our front end code, technically. And I use this like for the legacy system I have, that as we build in support for platforms in BrandGhost, I can call those APIs and exercise that they work. So I kind of test things like dog food, our own stuff that's not in the user interface. I do that repeatedly, and I've been doing that for months and months now. So we have that API access that isn't part of our product offering, but honestly, I think like I don't want to get rid of it because I feel like it could be something that we offer. If you don't want to use our user interface and you have your own systems for automation and you just want to be able to post out across different platforms, like I think that would be kind of cool to offer. So I don't just want to get rid of that, and that API surface area currently just deals with URLs. So especially if you're using Zapier or other tools, like they have like URLs from the workflows they have, and you can feed that in. Now, if we change that API surface area, and those callers need to know about resource IDs, they need to be knowledgeable about uploading their media first. So they have to know to call another API to then go upload, to then get a resource ID to give to us for the second API call. So it's doable, but it suddenly makes that API a little bit more of a pain in the butt to call. And personally, I think the best of both worlds would be that you just give us a URL on that API and we can post it, or you give us a resource ID. Like if you have the resource ID already because you've based on whatever system you have, you've done the upload manually or through some other call, give us the resource ID, just save the effort. But otherwise, keeping the URL in place is important. So that's one pathway into the system. And then the other pathway is just our own user interface. And it turns out from our discussion, like we think that the API surface area to our server, to our backend server, should use URLs. And we can get away with that because even if someone gives us a URL to our own blob storage, the URLs themselves have a fully qualified blob name in them. So we can just literally check for that and say, oh yeah, that's one of our resources already. Don't do anything. Oh, it's a police officer. I think he's already got someone else pulled over. Nice. It's not me. So if we have URLs to our own blob storage, then we don't have to do anything. Otherwise, though, if that's a URL that's not something that we can take the resource ID from, then we have to go run some work. And this is where we had this other challenge to kind of talk through, is like our current API, when you go to create content in our system, it comes back pretty quick, right? So you say like submit, and then it gives you back like the IDs and stuff for the new content it's created. And you can do it in bulk as well. But from an API design perspective, as soon as you start, like, you want to be in a position where you can give answers back to callers like immediately, ideally, right? So the super low latency. But the problem is like, well, not the problem, the challenge is like, what does that look like to call? So if someone has to say create the content, and even if it was just simple text for one content entry, should they really be sitting there like making other requests to pull when it's done? Do you really have to have the complexity of a callback URL to be triggered when it's done? Like, it's kind of crappy to do that. So if we can just do it quick enough and return the results on the call, great. You know, you say create it with this text, and we say, yeah, it's done, and here's a content ID. I like that a lot. It's just very simple. But when you start getting into bulk content, and then this problem of, oh, you just submitted 10 pieces of content to make, each one is a 5 megabyte picture, so we have to go upload 50 megabytes of picture to our blob storage. That's not crazy to do, but it's not going to be instant. So you probably, as a caller, don't want to be sitting there on an HTTP request. It's going to take multiple seconds. Like, that's a pretty bad experience. So now we have to think about designing something that when people submit the content, we can return right away, but at the same time, we have to go do background processing. So the good news is I do have job scheduling through Quartz. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, our server's written in C#, so we use ASP.NET, and there's a job scheduling framework that's called Quartz. And Quartz is really powerful. It's great to use. I like it. I think Hangfire is another option. I've just never used it before. So I use Quartz. We use that for actually posting the content, for leaving comments, and we'll be using Quartz for this part now. So I'll need to go make something that when we add content, it says, is this URL to our own blob storage? If it is, great, we're done. If it's not, I need to go add this thing onto the work queue to go upload the content. So I have that to do. There's some weird like consistency challenges I have to think through, but I think I'm just over analyzing it, and that's because the way that the system works is that it cares about URLs everywhere, and that's about to change because the system in the back end needs to care about resource IDs everywhere. And now I need to try and decouple these concepts, because the front end will care about URLs, the server will not. It will care about resource IDs. So I just need to make sure that the data that we have in place, I need to make sure what assumptions I can make about that data. So it'll be kind of neat. But I don't have the answers yet, so I just tried to take a swig of that, and it was just like one ice cube. It's like all that went into my mouth. No good. So I'm about 5 minutes away from Bellevue here, which is nice. It's not a bad drive, especially on a Sunday. Like, I'm in the fast lane, but the fast lanes are free on the weekends and late, well, in the evening, sort of like after rush hour and stuff, they become free in terms of cost to drive on, but also free in terms of who's around, right? So this drive is pretty quick. I'm trying to look at the time. It's only been like, what, 20 minutes? 5 minutes away. That's not bad at all. Yeah, should be okay. It's weird. I feel like this isn't the right exit, but whatever, I trust my GPS. We're meeting at a Starbucks, but I thought that I had to... This is always the thing that gets me. We're supposed to meet at a Starbucks. I'm pretty sure I know where it is from Google Maps, but I'm looking at the drive here, and I'm like, this doesn't really line up for me. No, it does. I have to go one more exit. So you can't see it, obviously, because the camera's facing the other way. Literally right here, if you watch my other videos, this is where I merge over to drive to work. So I just missed my work exit. And I thought that that's where it was telling me to go. I thought it was telling me to use my work exit. The next exit is the one that I expect, and that's what it's telling me to do. So, good news. I'm not lost. Then the next fun part is the parking. So Bellevue is kind of interesting. I'm not in Bellevue that often, and every time I'm in Bellevue, it just seems weird. It's like you always, no matter where you want to go, you park in the same spot. It's like there's a big underground parking lot that's under the whole city or something. It's really weird. So I never really understand it. This says northeast east. Okay, 13B. Don't mess it up, Nick. And then I need the west one. So here we go. Yeah, sorry. This is like the awkward part of the drive, because I'm like, oh, I don't know where I'm going. Kind of do. Like, I know I'm in Bellevue right now. So far, so good. I wish you could see this intersection. There's it's a 5-way intersection. So if you were to look straight ahead, like from my point of view, it's a building. So I think that's incredibly confusing, because if you wanted to drive straight, you might have people beside you that, like, now that's got to be classified as a left-hand turn. You'd have to see it. It's really bizarre, because I'm pointing literally at the edge of a like corner of a building. I was watching the other lane beside me, and I was thinking, like, man, this is not going to be okay. But because 2 corners of traffic started driving. Oh, this bump. Ugh. Not good. So this does suggest that it's on the other side from where I normally park. But maybe that's okay. I think every time I try to deviate from my parking plan, I realize, like, I shouldn't do that. Was going to end. That's weird. The lane ends, and then like 10 feet later it resumes on the other side of the light. I don't know why it's like that, but that's okay. I'm going to park in my normal spot. I think. Maybe I can't. No, I'm not even where I think I am. That's annoying. I'm gonna have to turn around or something. Well, what I might as well do is end this, because you're probably just gonna see me getting frustrated trying to park. So, yeah, that's what we're doing for BrandGhost. It's a bunch of work, but it's gonna be challenging and exciting. So, Thanks, and I'll give you an update once I meet with Jade. Talk later.